saying a special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio, those of you in GBN TV, good morning and welcome to another edition of To The Point. It's Wednesday, the 22nd day of April, 2026. Good morning to especially also those of you via our social media platforms, Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning to you. Those of you via, of course, our webpage, that's gbn.gd. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of To The Point. I'm your host, GT. And let me say good morning to my guests. From how I see, we have Mr. John with us this morning. And we have, of course, Mrs. Sonji and Douglas Smith. Hope I've got all the names in this morning. I'm sort of bad with names, so forgive me if I say anything wrong. Somehow I've seen, of course, Mr. John, you're a little bit out of my shot for some reason. I'm trying to get that sorted out. I think we saw it. I have you there now. We have you there sorted out. So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. How is everybody doing this morning?
Very well, thank you.
I'm good, GT. It's good to be back.
All right. Well, our conversation this morning, if we could, a simple way of describing it, we talking tax. Can I say that? We're talking taxes this morning, and it's relatively an important conversation from time to time. It's one of those conversations that there are a lot of folks who want to hear about it. But it's a conversation that has to be had from time to time. So that's our focus conversation this morning. Let's kick off it with, of course, lots of time we hear folks may have heard the terminology G-tax. There are maybe folks who may have understand the definition of what it means and stuff like that. When we say G-tax, talk to me in relation to that.
All right. So we're just, prior to coming on the show, we're talking about the fact that Mrs. Douglas Smith has been through a number of systems. So I want to give her the opportunity. This will be the third one that she's experienced.
Okay.
So Mrs. Douglas Smith, you'll take this one for me.
Sure.
Yes, good morning to our virtual audience. Yes, this is my third experience with a new system at Inland Revenue. G-tax basically means Grenada tax, right? This is a tax system where taxpayers are now directly involved with their account, meaning that you stay at the comfort of your home, your businesses, and you can relate to your account. Prior to the G-tax launch and the G-tax system being in operation, we had a system where in order for you to know what is your balances or so your tax status, you will have to come to the office. This is no longer the case, right? So this is G-tax for you.
Okay.
The taxpayers are reached at their homes or their businesses.
Mm-hmm. So it's a brand new tax administration system, and I think Mrs. Douglas Smith has been with IRD for over 20 years. So like she said, she's seen a number of different systems. And I think this, as she mentioned, is the one that gives the taxpayer a bit more autonomy, a bit more control, a bit more of ability to monitor what's going on, to stay abreast of their taxes. Because as you said, GT, sometimes people don't like to talk about it, but
I know.
as we always say, like, it's how the government gets the revenue to do the things that we want the government to do. We want them to fix the roads and ensure that the hospital is functioning well and our schools are functioning well, and we need revenue to do that. Right. And the revenue comes from our taxes, so the more abreast taxpayers can stay of what's coming up, so we don't fall into arrears, we don't end up on the red side of things. It's better for us. So I think G-tax, of the three systems, I would place G-tax at the top.
So if I could ask a question, the efficiency of this particular system, how would you rate it? Top gear for now?
Okay, so I'll give it an 8 out of 10 presently, simply because it's new. Both officers and taxpayers are just learning it, so we would have met challenges along the way. So and we're working together to fix that. So for now, I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
How well would you say Grenadians are understanding, of course, G-tax, and what role do it play in the modernization of the tax system?
Okay. Actually, we're a bit maybe slower than other countries in terms of technology. We're a bit resistant to change. All right. So we have to take that in to perspective here. The Grenadian public, I think, is welcoming the G-tax platform. As I said before, you can stay at home You can be up at 12 o'clock and just key in and see, well, okay, I'm owing tax and it's due, or it's due at a certain time. This is good. So I think they're embracing it. It might be a bit slow because it's new, right? And with everything new, it takes time. So I would say they're embracing it. We have the few that would not understand it as quickly as persons who are technology savvy, but we're getting there.
What would you say before we get? What are some of the main concerns that we're getting from citizens in terms of the G-taxes? What are some of the main concerns?
Okay, so the rollout phase, the phase of registering for your online account, that part is a bit challenging to some persons because we would have had a migration in the background, right, of taxpayers who had existing tax accounts, right? And persons now hearing, okay, there is a new system, I have to register for it. They're going ahead and doing new registration. So this is a challenge, right? What persons need to know, taxpayers need to know, is that if you're already existing, we have a GTax team for you.
Okay, so right? Just about moving to another platform.
Yes,
all right.
It's just moving to the other platform. Registering, I may say it's easy, but to a person who is not working in the system, it might be a bit challenging. But after the registration, I can tell you, it's smooth flow.
Free flow.
Yes.
Right. Anything you want to add there, Mr. John?
No, that's actually the last thing Mrs. Douglas Smith said is actually what I wanted to chime in. Even for the folks who've experienced some level of difficulty in the beginning, maybe they had to wait a little longer than usual for the account to get activated, because we do have a culture of last minute in Grenada, and so a lot of people waited until the last week or so, and so the activation list, I think at one point it reached, I checked, it was about 700 and something people who were waiting, because everybody waited for that weekend before the deadline was due. And so it took a little bit longer than normal to get activated. The activation would happen on a normal basis. It would be done within about 48 hours, unless there's a backlog. But once they got past that hurdle, every person that I've spoken to was like, oh, is that easy? Well, that's it. That's all I had to do.
That's all you have to do.
That's all you have to do. And listen, by next year, God's willing, after we get through this initial, it's new, I'm not comfortable with it,
familiarizing themselves with the process. I understand.
Next year, I expect people to just, when January hit, they didn't even want to hear about tax, so they go in, they pay, and they, as Ms. Douglas Smith said, like, when GTax did the soft launch in 2024, even when we moved first to e-services, once it was an option to not go in person to file anything. Listen, they don't see me, They don't see me. I stayed home and did this thing. It was about 11, 12. I suddenly remembered while I was watching something on YouTube, and I was like, oh crap, I didn't file yet. I just logged on, input my information, call that judge.
So we're looking at now, it simply means less paperwork.
Yeah.
Less paperwork. We're talking about fewer lines in terms of folks, because I have seen it in the past in terms of the lines, folks, especially, we Grenadians, right? We like the last minute way of doing things. It's more convenient, which means in the privacy of your home, anywhere you're at. You're on the beach, you feel you want to pull out your tablet, your phone, whatever way you want to do it. And of course, that particular progress, I'm sure it's been appreciated a whole lot. Is that feedback that you've been getting, the appreciation for such a system? Although we know there's still a little slow process in terms of people getting themselves familiarized, but who has gone through the process already? Are they showing appreciation for that?
Yes. Sorry to cut you, Ms. Douglas, but they, in the midst of the last minute rush towards the end of March, scrolling through social media to kind of get a sense of how people are feeling, and there were the comments that, hey, I'm waiting on activation, and amidst all of that, there was a few people saying, thank you for this option. I just spent 5 minutes paying my taxes. A process that would, in the past, would have taken them out of the office into a line for 30 minutes to an hour based on how how thick the place would have been at the time, and they just spent 5 minutes without leaving home and they were done. So the people who like I said, once they get through with the thing, man, they realize what direction IRD is going with the tax administration system, and I think they're appreciative of that.
All right, thank great. We drew for a break. Let's take that break. When we come back, we get into a post with the conversation. Stay with us, folks. It's The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back.
The Grenville Cooperative Credit Union introduces its
When the day's done, there's only one place to be. Jump it up. April 25th and 26th, the Kirani James Athletic Stadium comes alive. It's the Classic Lighting Communal Credit Union Invitational Games, the final showdown. Come witness all clubs battle for glory one last time. Gather your posse, take your stand, and jump up for Bankers Association, Hubbards, DG Huggins, Grenlec, Nawasa, Prisons, Police, Busmen, and Flow. This is rivalry. This is passion. This is Grenada on fire. April 25th and 26th. Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Don't miss it.
Right Choice Promotion presents Lyrics and Laughter, the ultimate pre-Mother's Day show. It's coming to the Grenada Trade Center on Sunday, May the 3rd from 5 p.m. Get ready for an evening of non-stop comedy, sweet Caribbean vibes, and pure entertainment. From Trinidad and Tobago, the funniest man in the region, Errol Fabian.
She said not even my shoes, I said no.
Humorous Calypsonians, Trinidad Rio.
Going back to basics.
And the Calypso Princess herself, Kareen Ashe from the Spice Isle. 2 decades of legend, Randy Isaac, Little Reds, plus local comedy king, Robert White, Dillian Walters, Fat Man George, and Kareem Alexis, delivering lyrical mastery, 11-time Calypso Monarch scholar, all backed by the Heatwave Band, with special musical treats from Lyndon Langdon on sax and Jelani Moses on violin. It's lyrics, it's laughter, it's music, it's vibes. Tickets just $75. Available now at gotofed.com and other outlets island-wide. Treat mom, treat your partner, treat yourself. Lyrics and laughter. Sunday, May the 3rd, 5 p.m. Grenada Trade Center. Don't miss it. Fire up the coals, bring the flavor. It's time to crown the King of the Grill. Maggie King of the Grill 2026 is calling you. Think you got the creativity, the skills, and the fire to rule the grill? This is the ultimate showdown for chefs, backyard masters, and the food lovers alike. Step up, show your talent, and claim your spot among the best. With over $5,000 in cash and prizes to be won, the stakes has never been hotter. Happening Saturday, May the 30th. Register now. Call or WhatsApp 407-8458. But hurry, registration close April the 30th. Don't wait. Bring your fire, bring your flavor, and bring your A-game. Maggie, King of the Grill 2026, where champions are made on the grill.
Life doesn't stand still. It moves. It grows. It asks you to believe in what's next. Your first car. Owning your home. The business you build. The future you choose to invest in. Life moves in steps. When you're ready to take the next one, we're here to help you move forward with banking solutions designed for life. From vehicle financing and mortgages to education savings, credit solutions, and support for your growing business. Republic Bank, ready for life, every step.
back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again to The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. Yeah, folks, I want to say welcome back to my guest this morning. And as mentioned in my introduction, when I started in the first segment, we're talking taxes this morning. Let's move to this segment where I will call, deadlines. Deadlines is always something that folks sometimes miss for various reasons. We talked about the G-Tax a while ago, which should help you a whole lot in terms of eliminating you having to be at that last minute thing, per se, in terms of getting it done. Talking deadlines. What would you say are the most critical tax deadline in 2026? And how can taxpayers avoid that last minute stress, as we would say?
Okay, so let me first iterate that the deadline has already passed.
Yes.
Right? The deadline was March 31st. However, because of the new system we have in place, we understand that taxpayers may have a little challenge. Officers also have challenges in the office in terms of the activation and everything like that. So we would have seen the challenges. We would have tried to work along with taxpayers as much as possible, but we couldn't get there, right? So hence the reason for the extension. So we would have given 1 month's extension, right? So the new deadline is now April 30th, only 8 days away.
All right.
So we want to encourage taxpayers, especially our personal income taxpayers, to make sure you file by the deadline, 8 days away, right? So this is the most critical, the personal income tax. And I say critical because from time to time you may hear taxpayers out there say, government already take their monies, why do I need to file? But this is not the case. We at Inland Revenue do not know how much you're working for. We do not know who you are working for. And in some cases, persons have more than 2 or 3 employers. So if they're liable to deduct your taxes and pay it in, if you do not file, we cannot reconcile. We do not know. Right? So, additionally, you would have had an illness that maybe kept you home for 3 or 4 months. We wouldn't know that at Inland Revenue. NIS is supposed to pay you, right? This is not taxable. But we would not have that information unless you file. So it's not about government already took the monies. Government may have taken too much of your monies. So we have to refund it. In that case, you need to file for us to reconcile. And that's the only how you can get your refund. The only how you can get what government owes you. Okay, so that is critical.
The importance of filing your income tax. How important really is that?
Very important. As I said, very important.
As you may not cutting in on you, but you mentioned previously, folks may say, well, I'm thinking my employer may have deducted, so I may not have to go through the process. I'm thinking they're taking care of that. So we have that sort of thinking pattern. I'm thinking, well, they're taking care of that, so I don't need, they're taking a little whatever for income tax, right? So I don't have to go. But it's important that you do your personal filing.
Yes, because for it's human being. Your financial officer is human being. He or she may have forgotten to deduct the amount of tax you need to submit to Inland Revenue, right? And they would have sent in their yearly financial, the pay, the annual pay, right? That's what we call it. And you did not send in your PIT, but let's say come 2028, right? You realize, no, but government, I went in there, I supposed to have a refund, and it's not there, it was not submitted. You see how important it is?
Yes.
Right. So it is critical, and I keep reiterating, it is critical to file your personal income tax.
A lot of people tend to look at it as, I don't want government in my business. Government not to know how much I'm making so they can take more. But as Ms. Douglas Smith is pointing out, it offers IRD the opportunity to reconcile the information that they get. Yes. All right, and I don't want to make it sound as if there are a bunch of crooks around, but sometimes there are people who do unscrupulous things. They deduct the tax from you so that they pay you less.
Yes.
But if they don't file it, or if they underfile, then they're taking money from you as the employee. They're not giving that to you, and they're holding on to it themselves, and that's wrong, right? And it shouldn't happen, but there are cases where it does happen, and so you filing allows IRD to reconcile that and say, hey, wait, there's a discrepancy here. All right, let's find that discrepancy and let's rectify that, right? So that everybody gets their fair share, because with taxes, we are asking taxpayers to pay their fair share in order to allow the government to do all the things that we want them to do. All right, and so if we don't do our part, which is the filing, as employees, if we don't file, then employers can't be held accountable. If employers are not held accountable, then we get less revenue, which means we get less ability to build a road, to build a school, to pay for medical, to do all the things that we love to say government needs to. Yeah. So we have the filing. It's for our benefit. It's not government want to be in your business. It's so that everybody can do their fair share.
Which of the taxes, you did mention your personal income tax fits into the deadline scenario that we're talking about a whole lot. Which of the taxes fits into that deadline scenario?
Right. So the annual stamp tax also we do the filing also March 31st, extended also to April 30th. We have also corporate income tax, right? So annual stamp tax, we run the returns from January to December. You have up to March to file of the following year to file on that return, right? Also the corporate income tax for persons whose financial period runs from January to December, they also are liable to file by March 31st, the extension April 30th.
Okay. The instance of penalties. Sometimes folks hear that word is a ticklish word sometimes. I am paying my tax, so there's penalties. Talk to me in relation to penalties. How does that come about?
So first of all, at Inland Revenue, we preach compliancy. Right? We try for as much as possible to work with the taxpayers for them to be compliant. But as we know, if you're not compliant, there is penalty, right? And our penalty, we have two different penalties. We have payment penalty, we also have filing penalty. So in the case where you do not file, you have $500, right? To start, $100 every month thereafter you do not file. Okay, so within a year or two it will be thousands, right? We don't want the taxpayers to be scared, we want them to be compliant, right? So we also have interest, right? And interest is on the payment that you did not make. We have it at 1.5% and it's compounded. So yes. We also have the late payment penalty, which is 20%. All right. So the filing is $500, $100 until you file, and the payment is 20%.
Interesting to know. You want to add anything on Mr. Dan? I think probably help someone out of the penalties if you say so.
So yes, to the extent that IRD does not want. They don't want to go straight to the heavy hammer, which is the penalties. And so that's why, if you recall, in the month of March, almost every Friday, they were out in the streets meeting people to help them get up to speed with their registration so that they can file, right? Because 2026 is the year of the taxpayer, and we'll get to that in time. But what it essentially emphasizes is that we want to work with taxpayers because we genuinely believe that people want to pay their taxes.
Yeah.
They just want to know when, how, what's the process, and they themselves want to be able to calculate and verify that they're paying the right amount, and that's fair, and we want to help them do that because we want you to pay. Right? We understand that if circumstances come about, things that are beyond your control, and you need some sort of exemption or special circumstances, there's an opportunity for you to write in to the comptroller and ask for what you need ahead of the time, all right, so that we can work with you. But if you fail to do that, you don't ask, you don't respect the deadline, you don't respect the reminders, you just decide you're doing what you want, well, then we are forced to do what we have to do, right? Because at the end of the day, as we keep saying, without this revenue, Grenada, not government, Grenada, me and you, we're the ones that are going to suffer if the government fails to collect the revenue.
And
Teachers can't get paid.
Yeah, and the word that comes to mind there now is consequence. You understand? It's the consequence of you not paying your tax.
Yeah.
If for some reason government finds out, well, GT is capable of paying his taxes, or a particular business is capable of paying their taxes. Because I think there's a system of monitoring individuals, what they do. I'm not sure how it's done. And what are some of the consequences an individual could really go through? Maybe we may not hear about it a lot in Grenada for various reasons. We are a small country. But what are the consequences of individuals who just decide they are blatantly just not going to pay their taxes?
Okay.
After you go through the penalties, you mentioned the penalties, but then there's consequences that comes after that.
Yes. Okay, so we have a number of steps we can go through. As I said, we
scare
preach.
Anyone.
No, as I said, we preach compliancy. You're not compliant. You did not ask for extension, because we have extensions for persons whose account is in good standing. We have that as well, right? So once you would have requested that your account is in good standing, we give that,
okay,
right? So I may skip some, but one of the, well, I could say the worst, we will garnish from the bank account,
okay,
right? And it takes a while to get there, right? So a taxpayer, we will work with you. We have officers who work along with taxpayers who are in default,
yeah,
right? So you're assigned an officer from the compliance and collections unit, right? This officer will work along with you, give you all the different options. We can, if you're getting paid by government, we can do some transaction there. You pay us part of this money, we give you the rest. We do that,
okay,
right? But if you don't want it that way, and you know some persons, let's say they know somebody, so your check may go out, and you know you're supposed to pay. Of course, government is giving you something. Why not give it back? Give back some of it, not all of it. It would not be all of it, right?
Understandably so.
Just get to that point where you're comfortable. But sometimes it doesn't happen. We like our monies, so in our pockets, right? And we're saying you have to pay your fair share, right? So what we do, we start with this. We go to our accountant general and we say, okay, this person is owing government. Let's work something out. They will give us 40%, they will get their 60%. If that does not work, we will do another thing. We can go to your creditors, right? And say, okay, this person is owing us. You will have to pay us. You're owing, remember, you're owing that person, that taxpayer.
Yeah.
But if they're not paying us, we will collect it from you.
Okay.
It may not happen all the time. As you say, sometimes you don't hear about it. You may have some property, you can do some transaction. Remember, everything is valued.
Yes.
So if that's the value of your tax and you want to give us that portion of or some vehicles, we can work along with that as well, right? But if you're not doing anything whatsoever, we will take the hard and fast approach. We will go to the bank accounts, right? And we have memorandum of understanding for that.
Well, as you mentioned, you went to the most severe.
Right, so we walk along, but yes, that's the most
legally,
severe.
they can actually stop you from leaving the country.
Yes.
We can actually stop you at the airport before you board if you're owing taxes. And as Mrs. Douglas...
We could put lien also on anything at the airport.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So
we don't want to go there, but it is within the law.
Okay.
The law allows us to extend the arm as far as we need to in order to collect the revenues that we need to. We're asking everybody to play their part so that we don't have to go there. Someone asked in the past whether or not the IRD has ever done it. They have.
Yes,
Yeah, they have. They've actually stopped someone at the airport because they were owing.
It just proving that that individual was not paying their tax.
Yeah.
Was it only for personal income tax or stamp tax, or is it, could it go across the board?
No, mainly it's not for personal income tax. Mainly it would have been for the other taxes. One of the tax type we're very serious about is the VAT.
Yes.
Right? Value added tax. Value added tax is not a tax on the taxpayer.
Okay.
When I say taxpayer, I'm speaking of the person, the director, the business also.
Okay.
It's not on them. The value added tax is actually on the customer like me and you.
Yes. Those regular consumers.
Yes.
Yes.
The taxpayer, when we say the business, collect as an agent for government and supposed to remit it. But sometimes, this amount of 36,000 in VAT came in. I have something to pay for. Why do I have to give government that? But it's not your monies. So we're very serious about the VAT.
All right. That's certainly interesting.
Yes.
No, the property tax impact, that is also concerning. When I say that, how do property tax collecting affects community development, per se, and how do citizens see it of benefit locally?
The thing is, you'll say property tax, but the reality is any revenue that's lost through failure to file and pay our taxes is revenue that is lost across the board. Any type of development that has to happen in the country first comes out of our coffers. We as people, the citizens, we fund the development that we want to see. So when we shy away from paying taxes, all we're really doing is taking bread out of our own mouth, because you can't hire a government, and that's how I like to look at it. Okay. We hire an administration to run the country, right? Yes. By voting. So we vote them in and we say, this is the vision, this is what we want to see happen over the next years. We go to our parliamentary representatives and we say, hey, the road behind here been beat up for the longest while, my child fall and breaks your foot, we need a better road behind here. He doesn't dip into his own money, his bank account to do that. He has to go to the consolidated fund.
Yes.
Where does the money from the consolidated fund come from? Taxes. So we pay money in there in order to enable the government, through their wisdom, to work. So if we decide we're not paying property tax, or we're not paying income tax, we're not paying personal income tax, we're not paying corporation tax, we ain't paying the VAT, they're collecting too much money, we're holding back, then we kind of forfeit the right to ask for anything, because we're keeping everything, so then we got to do it for ourselves. All right? And we don't want that. All right? We want to be able to see where we are as a country today and say, hey, for example, using IRD as an example, I'm tired of having to come and stand up in the line for 30 minutes or hour in order to pay my taxes. We need to be online. If I can say that to IRD, then IRD has the mandate now. All right, guys, how do we move this tax system from a paper system to an online system? That means we have to build out something, or we have to purchase something. All right? So for us to get an online system, it requires funding.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's really the bottom line. I think that's how everybody needs to see this thing. I always say we like to, on February 7th, grab like a flag and go in the stadium and wave, and everybody is patriots on that day. A patriot pays his taxes.
Yeah, of course, the patriotism in terms of paying your taxes.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me this, there's always that concern when it comes to fairness and equity for some reason or the other, especially when it comes to, with taxpayers, especially, property tax and rates and stuff like that, folks always feel, how should government assess concerns pertaining to that? And when it comes to equity, talk to me in relation to that.
Okay, so taxes are, what you say, self-assessed mostly, right? So, and the smaller your returns, the less tax you pay, right? You go higher, your salary is more. Let's say, for instance, Mr. John, his salary may be way over my own. Of course, he will pay more. We have two different rates there, right? The person who does not own over 36,000 does not pay any taxes directly, right? You will pay your VAT and so on the outside, but they're exempted, right? So it's only above the $36,000,
and
right?
that's per year.
That's per year.
Okay.
Right? That pays taxes, and you have up to $60,000 a year where you pay the 10% rate.
Okay.
Right? Thereafter, you pay both rates, which is 10% and 28%. So this is fairness. Right?
In addition to that, if we look at the rates for like annual stamp tax, for example, and annual stamp tax is the tax that a business would pay on the gross receipts, the gross amount of money that it makes for the year. If you look at the amount that government is asking you to contribute, it's not an exorbitant amount. It's
like penny on the dollar, some folks would say sometimes.
Say it again?
I say some folks may look at it as penny on the dollar, right?
It is. But it's
0.5%.
When you look at the rate, it's 0.5%. Not 0.5, 0.5%. Right? That is half of 1 cent for every 100 that you make. Half of a cent is what the government is asking you to give back. And we're hoping if everybody gives their little percentage, then together, all of us will have enough that we could fund the development and fund all the things. So we're not asking Mrs. Douglas Smith, for example, with her salon. Hopefully you'd have a salon. Right? She has a salon. We're not asking her to fund the whole of Grenada. We're asking her to give a small portion for her salon, a small portion from my barbershop, a small portion from your enterprise. And together we pool the resources and we do better for the country.
And on top of that, you still have an exemption of 36,000. That does not mean the taxpayer will always submit under 36,000 and we will not audit, right? Yes, we will audit.
Do you believe also it's in a Grenada case, it is a lack of understanding or the lack of knowledge of taxes that is what is called in delinquency sometimes? Do you believe that is one of the major problems that plays in terms of folks not going out there and really applying in terms of paying their taxes? And would you blame the IRD for a point but maybe not disseminating enough information to the average Grenadian?
Well, I would never blame IRD. I'd never blame IRD because if you just go inside and you see what takes place on a day-to-day basis, you realize that everybody inside there is hard at work. All right,
let's try and look for somebody to blame.
Yeah, I mean we do. But yeah, so if we had to do anything, I would say let's educate more people. And I think even in terms of like how we educate the person, I remember when I first made my first foray into business, I didn't have a firm grasp on what my obligations were if I were to become a business owner. And I think when we're doing our business seminars, when we're pushing entrepreneurship and we have our little workshops and we have our things to develop and help XYZ person get a small business started, you should team up with the Inland Revenue Division, right? There are 4 groups of people from government side that I would say, 4 or 3, that I would say get involved whenever any private enterprise, any non-profit or any group is having anything to do with business development. Contact the Corporate Affairs and Intellectual Property Office, that's CAIPO, because you first have to get registered. Contact IRD, because even though you're registered with CAIPO, you also have to register to pay your taxes. So know upfront what your tax obligations are. So contact IRD and say, hey, we're having a session and we want you guys to do a presentation. And I have never heard IRD turn down an opportunity like that to engage, right? Because they can't do it by themselves. We can't reach everybody in Grenada by ourselves, right? In addition to that, contact the Ministry of Finance, Accountant General Division, because if you intend to do business with government, you might have a service that government uses from time to time, like your voice, for example. Listen, contact the Ministry of Finance, Accountant General Division, because there's a way that and a process that you have to go through if you're going to do business with government in order to get paid efficiently. And so those three. All right, ensure that those three are part of whatever business development seminar, workshop, whatever you're hosting, so that everybody knows what they're getting into and they go in eyes open. If we do that, I think we'll have a more educated base. And of course, IRD through the Ministry of Finance's corporate communication team, which I'm a part of, we will do our best to educate as fast as we go. But I would say let's get on board and let's partner and do this thing.
Okay. We're due for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We'll be right back.
From April 24th.
Attention Grenada, get ready for the Clash of the Champions. The Classic Lighting Communal Credit Union Invitational Game is coming to the Kirani James Athletic Stadium April 25th and 26th. Watch the intense rivalry as the GUT Primary School goes head-to-head with Huggins Private School in a battle for speed, pride, and bragging rights. This is not just about style, it's about the fastest time. It's about power on the track. It's about glory, honor, and fame. Who will rise? Who will dominate? Who will take home the golden stake of the CLCCU Invitational Games? Don't miss the action. April 25th and 26th at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Classic Lighting Communal Credit Union Invitational Game, where champions are made.
Across our Caribbean, we're going digital, working smarter and living safer online.
In Dominica, we don't fall for fake prizes. We check before we click.
In Grenada, we verify before we share, keeping our hard-earned money safe from hackers.
In St. Lucia, we report cyberbullying, protecting our children and each other.
In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we report scams fast, protecting our neighbors and our communities.
Together, we're building a cyber-smart Caribbean, keeping our people and our data safe, standing up to scams and cybercrime. We stay connected, but always alert. This message is brought to you by the Caribbean Digital Transformation Project. Stay smart, stay safe. Think Card TP. Visit cardtpconnect.org.
Fire up the coals, bring the flavor. It's time to crown the King of the Grill. Maggie King of the Grill 2026 is calling you. Think you got the creativity, the skills, and the fire to rule the grill? This is the ultimate showdown for chefs, backyard masters, and the food lovers alike. Step up, show your talent, and claim your spot among the best. With over $5,000 in cash and prizes to be won, the stakes has never been hotter. Happening Saturday, May the 30th. Register now. Call or WhatsApp 407-8458. But hurry, registration close April the 30th. Don't wait. Bring your fire, bring your flavor, and bring your A-game. Maggie, King of the Grill 2026, where champions are made on the grill.
Before the digital age, before the world moved at the speed of a click, there was a signal connecting a nation. In 1986, a journey in broadcasting began in Grenada, a journey that would grow into a trusted voice across the country. For 40 years, through radio and television, we've been there for the stories that shaped our nation, the news that mattered, the voices that informed us, the moments that brought us together. Your stories, your voices, your moments. The Grenada Broadcasting Network, 40 years strong, one nation, one network.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers. If you see us smiling, of course, a little bit of off-air conversation sometimes get you smiling. I guess welcome back once again. I want to get into this bit of conversation this morning. We've been hearing the tagline being thrown out, the year of the taxpayers. Talk to me in reference to that.
Yeah, I think in a nutshell, we the Inland Revenue Division will be meeting the taxpayers where they are, and we've started some of that. Actually, we started that since last year, 2025. It was a latter portion of the year. We started meeting groups of business owners, sector by sector. And we've continued into 2026, and we will be doing a lot more of that as the year rolls on. So those of you who have like you're part of your business associations, and so look out for the correspondence. We met accountants and bookkeepers earlier this year, a really fruitful meeting. I mean, I didn't even realize there were so many accountants and bookkeepers on the island, right? And we're looking at how we can help develop the sector, right? Especially from a tax compliance standpoint, how we can help them get to where they need to get to, because we didn't just come in and say, give us the money. We're saying, hey, how can we develop together so that when you make what you make, you're in a position where you can contribute and feel good about the contribution that you're making. And so you'll see a lot of communications going out, inviting different groups, different sectors to meet, doctors, lawyers, even the bus operators, your small agro processors. We intend to meet as many people as we can. We're leaving the office, we're coming out, and we're asking you to meet with us, we're asking you to call in, we're asking you to connect with us so that we can help develop this thing together.
All right. And of course, the engagement that you've been having, how fruitful has it been? How fruitful has it been thus far in terms of the engagement you've been having?
I would say excellent. I think at the end of March, every parish that we went to when we did our outreach asked if we can come back again. And I mean, I would love to just say, hey, we're coming back next week. But again, the IRD is hard at work, especially with the approaching deadlines. They are hard at work. But I know property tax, the officers are going to be out.
Yes, we usually do start out offices for the property tax as well, closer to the June deadline.
Okay.
And
that deadline is the 30th
of June.
For property
That's
tax.
for the 5% discount.
Okay.
That is.
All right. Tell me, public trust is another important part of this, because how can transparency in tax collection and spending strength public trust in the particular system that we see right now?
I think what's important to know is that there are laws that govern what IRD does, right? So it's not Mrs. Douglas Smith or the comptroller sit down in the office and they deciding to treat GT one way and then treat me another way. All right, there are laws that govern what we do, and IRD above all else ensures that they operate within the law. They can't extend beyond that, and they won't extend beyond that. And so knowing what they can and cannot do and operating within there and being consistent in their operation provides the basis of the relationship, the trust relationship that we have with the public. In addition to that, we are as transparent as we can be about what we're going to do. Yeah. You'll never be in a situation where we just spring a payment on you. You'll get an alert. Something will be sent, whether it's via mail or through GTax itself. You'll get, even when you file your taxes are assessed.
Yes, we send out an assessment notice. Mm-hmm. Yes. And
if what we checked and what you have, there's some kind of difference, there's an opportunity for you to reconcile and say, hey, well, I noticed this difference. You can object, you can...
Yes, you have 30 days to object.
Yeah. So it's not like, we're just doing what we feel.
Sometimes folks get this information and they say, how they can say I owe all this money? Mm-hmm. You understand? You have the opportunity to come in and have that conversation, mm-hmm. and have that corrected so that you're playing on a level playing field.
Exactly.
Now, the future, there's always have to look at the future, because we were thinking about it. Let's say let me ask you, how might G tax in particular and property tax returns shape Grenadian economy over the next decade? If I could ask you that.
Okay, well, remember, taxes used for the development of the country generally, right? We may have grants and so coming in, but it's not enough, and we cannot always say a grant will come in to do a piece of road or to fund education or so. So yes, we need the taxes, and the taxes will go a long way in terms of the development. We would have seen lightings and playing fields that never had before and these things. The taxes are needed, and the taxes will definitely contribute to the development like that, right? As you know, technology, the involvement of technology is, some very interesting.
It's a way of life.
Very interesting. And a system, especially like GTAX, we didn't foresee this maybe 20 years back. We did not see this, right? And now you can sit at home, just like you go on, let's say, one of the, let's say, we'll say Shein, like most people know Shein. You can stay at home now and do your taxes that way. So, yes, development is a must when it comes to paying your fair share of the taxes, right? So, you cannot complain, as Mr. John would have said before, you cannot complain if you do not contribute, right?
I agree.
And we need the roads, especially me coming from all the way St. Patrick's to come down. We need the roads.
I agree.
Right? And it has to be in good condition. So let's pay our fair share of taxes, and we can see better roads, better road network, better drainage, everything. We're speaking of education, free education. So it has to be funded. Right? It may not come directly from your pocket. To see your daughter or your son going on to university, maybe the first person, it has to be funded, and taxes is what is funding that. So, yes.
I mean, it goes across the board sometimes. As regular citizens, we may not understand how government is coming by the finances.
Yeah.
Because, we have always been have the thought pattern that government have money. I'm not saying they don't, but
well, money comes from taxes.
So we have to be cognizant that hey, we have to pay our fair share also, and I think that's what the message we're trying to bring across. Pay your taxes, get an understanding of why you have to pay your taxes. And I think that's one of the problems, I think, that needs to be pushed a whole lot. Why it's important that you pay your taxes. As small as it may be, still go ahead and do your filing. And I think that's good. So
I think, not to cut you, but like if I had to speak to a Grenadian, I would say sit down, right? And picture what you want to see your community or your space or Grenada look like in 10 years, right? And understand that you yourself would not be able to do all of it. So that's why we have parliamentarians, representatives. They are all representatives. So you go to your representative and you say, hey, this is what we in this community want over the next 10 years, right? And then understand that has to be funded. And that's funded through our taxes. So then you contribute to building that vision that you have for this country.
All right. Hey, folks, in this segment, I'll give the opportunity to listeners and viewers. If you do have a question or two you may like to ask a guest, feel free to do so. 435-2041 is whether the direct line or the WhatsApp. 435-2041. I beg of you to be brief in terms of your contribution this morning. The lines are now open. Yes, the WhatsApp is back up and running. 435-2041. And certainly hope folks have some questions for us this morning that they were like in terms of the conversation we had this one in terms of taxes, because I know there are folks who always have questions in relation to this. There's always a question when it comes to tax, so certainly hope that we get some folks contributing to that.
And of course, if they may be too shy or the question may be a little too personal, so they don't want to ask it on air, IRD is always at hand, ready to assist with those things. So we do get some interesting queries sometimes. Sometimes we end up and sometimes we inherit some situations and we don't know exactly how to handle it, especially where tax is concerned. And you can always call into IRD or even message our Facebook page, and we direct those questions to the relevant officers. So
All right. Well, I think the calls have been slow in coming this morning, so I would assume that folks have a relatively clear understanding about their taxes, which is good. Which is good. But I think we have our first caller. Let's go over to the phone line. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Yes. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning to you, sir.
After a long while.
All right.
Good morning to your guests. Okay, taxes, yes. I don't think people are afraid or doesn't want to pay taxes generally, because we know definitely what taxes are. And as a retired civil servant, I know how it works. But one of the concerns we have as consumer public is that when you pay the taxes, what do the taxes do? Is it misappropriated? Is it spent in the right area? Because we see a lot of wastage. Do the IRD have control or some control over how the government spend the taxes which we, the taxpayers, pay? Because that is it. I don't believe we are getting the fair share of our taxes, and that is a concern people have. I'm paying my taxes, and look, I'm not satisfied with what my taxes is doing, because we see a lot of wastage, we see misappropriation of funds, and then you call on us again to pay increased taxes. That is our concern, sir. Have a great day.
Thank you. You want to respond to the caller?
All right. Legally, no.
Oh, okay. No, legally we do not control how the taxes are spent. We leave it up to the policy makers. We are only the agent for collection.
Okay. We do have another caller via WhatsApp. Good morning and welcome.
Yes, good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing well. Go right ahead, please.
About 2 years ago, I registered a business. That office up going up Lucas Street, somewhere up there. Do you have to, when you register a business, do you have to pay $25 every year? And where do you pay?
I hope the question is understandable.
Yeah.
Okay, so no, you do not pay $25 every year. You're paying at Kaipo the $25 for the registration. Thereafter, you come to Inland Revenue to register for your tax obligation, and you do not have to pay anything at Inland Revenue.
All right. I have a question from someone on the WhatsApp. They're saying, I paid my property tax in March of 2026, but I've received an email telling me that my tax are due. And they're asking why are they seeing that? And what is done to tradesmen who is making money and not registered with IRS or something of that nature? But let's go with the property tax in March that he's still saying that it's true still.
Right. So what happened is that we had recently sent out a batch of demand notices to persons' emails. All right. It does not mean that we would have reviewed the accounts before sending it.
Okay.
Right. So persons, yes, in this loop, when you have paid their taxes, they do not have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Persons who did not pay, you have up to June 30th to get your 5% discount. You can pay still. Right. There was also a case where persons would have made payments online and the money did not hit the account directly. Presently, we have officers working to remedy this situation. So just give us a few maybe days or so, and all of your taxes will be settled.
Yeah. I got the same message because I like to pay property tax early. Since I learned that if you pay before the June 30th deadline, you get 5% discount, right?
Okay.
On your taxes. So I like to file early. So I filed in January, February, somewhere around there, and I got the same notice. But in the email, it actually says if you've already paid, then disregard this message. So if you've already paid and you've seen it, just ignore and carry on.
All right. Well, we get into the stage of the moment we're going to have to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. I'm going to give you the opportunity, and in closing, you want to share with our listeners and viewers this morning in terms of offering them that encouragement once again to, file, pay their taxes?
I'll start and I'll let the lady close, the experience close in the room. And for me, it's just to remind folks that the 30th is the deadline for personal income tax, annual stamp tax, and corporate income tax. Let's avoid, we have 8 days, let's avoid waiting to the 29th of April and the 30th of April to try and get on. Let's take advantage of the extension, because after that, then IRD is legally able to apply the penalties. And like we said, as the first caller said, we believe everybody does indeed want to pay their taxes. And so we've extended the deadline to allow everybody the opportunity. So let's take advantage and let's start filing. If you need assistance, we have multiple channels. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have LinkedIn, we have a GTax hotline, we have the phone, we have email. There are lots of ways to get in touch. Get in touch and let's help resolve whatever issues you have so that we can make the process as smooth as possible.
All right, Ms. Douglas.
Yes, I would like to say thanks to the listening public, and I want to encourage each and every taxpayer who is liable to file at this time to do so. Do not wait for the last day. We are quite capable of assisting, but if the lines get too long, it may be a challenge for us. We remember our staff is not as big as supposed to be, but we're encouraging persons to come in as quick as you can so that we can give you the assistance that you need and you will be able to file and be compliant for all tax types. Thank you again.
All right, I want to thank you both for coming and sharing information this morning. I know there are listeners and viewers out there who may not understand the process and who may have been hesitant for whatever reason will now take the initiative to file, sign up for their GTax and make life as easier for themselves and for everyone in general. So thank you both once again.
Thank you.
Hey folks, that's what we're going to wrap up today's edition of To The Point. I want to thank everyone who contributed. Thank you so much. Have a good one. That's what we say goodbye.